There we go. Hello, people. Glad I didn't talk for too long without before realizing that the audio levels weren't working. Seems like a forced update tried to silence me, as always. As I was saying, I hope you all are having a lovely time and just in general good health on this Tuesday, November 18th. You guys got me for about 2 hours. I'm going to be using those 2 hours to get into it today. We are going to be discussing a couple of different things that I've been excited about, and one major thing that I just have some grievances that I need to get over. I need to get out, need to discuss, I need to let them be my final piece on the matter. First things first, how are y'all doing? Hope you had good weekends generally. Mine's okay. Was able to hang out with my pets, able to hang out with my partner. Was able to finally finish a game that I've been reviewing for 2 weeks. There was no rush for the review, so I was playing it amongst other things, just kind of taking my time with it. Got the review done, handed it off, got the edits done too. We'll see when it comes out, but in general, very excited for when you guys get to read that. I was really happy with the way the review turned out. In general, just happy with the game that I played. I'm not sure if I've talked about it here. I've definitely talked about it on Blue Sky. I don't think I've talked about it on Twitch. So just look forward to that. It'll be a cool one. It's another RPG, and I just hope that you guys enjoy yourself while checking it out. Now, we're gonna be mostly talking today. It's gonna be mostly like chat stream, because as I said before, there's a couple of different things that I want to talk about. One of them, a good thing. The other thing, something worth talking about. Not sure if I want to call it good yet. It is just a thing. Um, so we're going to start with the more positive thing first. The interview that just went up today on my website, Exalclaw. This is another interview that I'm very happy with the way it came out. I say that mostly being that I'm just happy with the sincerity and thoughtfulness that the developers behind Wander Stars, Paper Castle gave in their answers to me. I was really happy with the way that interview turned out, mostly because it was not rushed. It was a really big thing for me. Something that I explicitly told them when I reached out to them for the first time, to ask them questions in the first place and see if they'd be interested in doing an interview, was telling them that there was no rush, there was no urgency in doing this. I was messaging them pretty much not right after Wonder Stars had come out, but I think like a week or two after it had come out. So they were transparent with me and saying that they were not in a place to just get to me immediately, but they had shown interest. They said that they wanted to do this, and so they just said, if I'm not in a rush and just had the time, that'll work for them. I said, hey, take your time. There's no rush to get this out, and a banger interview came out of it. I'm really happy with the way that they took the time to answer my questions, and I'm really glad with what we got out because it taught me a few different things, not just about the game like I was hoping to learn, but just about Latin America's relationship with anime, of all things. Now, this is not news per se in terms of Latin America having a special relationship with anime, specifically Dragon Ball Z 2. When Akira Toriyama unfortunately passed, was it last year or earlier this year? Oh man, this is a quick check actually. But when he passed, while many people grieved the industry titan that gave us so much by extension of his influential works of Dr. Slump, of Dragon Quest, of Dragon Ball. He passed away last year. Jesus, man, it feels like that just happened yesterday. That's crazy. That he passed away in March of last year. Wow, that is insane. Time is not real. Um, but regardless, when he passed away, we all saw the social media feeds. Everyone was grieving. But golly, was my Latinx community struggling that day. They were struggling. It was hitting them hard. And, that's always been a thing. We've always known there's always been talks and jokes and just, not even jokes, but recognition of how big of a deal Dragon Ball is and just Latin culture. And this interview kind of gave me a bit of an insight into why. So let's get a little bit into the interview. We're not going to read the whole thing, but I just wanted to talk about it because I just really liked how this came out. So to reiterate, this was for the game Wander Stars. If you don't know what Wander Stars is, it is a RPG that came out a couple of months ago from the team that I interviewed here, Paper Castle, and it is a game focused on Ringo, Wolf, and the friends and enemies they make along their journey to put together the Wander Stars map. A map that supposedly will lead you to a Wander Star that'll grant any wish that you have. Just magical being, almost honestly in some ways reminiscent of collecting the Dragon Balls. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, although people collecting pieces of a treasure that promises great things and a better life is not something that Dragon Ball invented. It's just one that just came to mind given how much influence Dragon Ball has had on this particular work. Really good game, awesome turn-based combat that has like a roguelike element to it. Really strong sense of 1980s, 1990s anime humor and just general culture. Really electric soundtrack that just like keeps things buzzing, moving, meets the emotional beats the proper way that it needs to, and just overall the cast of characters easy to fall in love with. I gave it a 9 on my review for what used to be Endless Node, but what is now called AV Club's Games. If you want to go read that review, it's here. It will not be going anywhere anytime soon. But yes, I was very high on the game. It's probably one of my favorite games that I played this year. And as a result, that's why I wanted to interview the creators behind it. Because more than anything, the thing that was especially impressive about Paper Castle's outing here was the fact that they were able to so explicitly pull from influences like Dragon Ball, like Sailor Moon, like Yu Yu Hakusho, so many of like just the flagpole series of shonen anime from that era, but at the same time, while pulling from them, not lose itself in paying homage to them. It's something that distinctly understands what it's referencing without actually getting itself drowned into the nostalgia of it all. It's something that clearly wants to make its own mark in that space, and I would say successfully pulls it off and gives us a very unique adventure, which is why I was so high on the game in the first place. So, with that being said now, I wanted to ask them a couple of questions of how they were able to balance this nuance. And scrolling down a little bit past this intro that I give here, just kind of glazing a little bit, but also setting things up properly. And that's what the game looks like in action if you don't know. This boss in particular, I was scared for my life. Good Lord, was I scared of Jezebel, man. She, if there's one thing about her, she is a captain. Let me tell you that without spoiling too much. She is a captain, bruh. She knows how to keep her men in line. But scrolling down a little bit here. Here it is. So the question that I asked them was, Wander Stars wears its inspiration on its sleeves and arms, given half of the main cast wears sleeveless tops. Dragon Ball jumps out almost immediately as a huge influence. What's the team's relationship like with the show and larger series, and were there any other shows you pulled a lot of inspiration from? And Paper Castle responded, we grew up in 90s Latin America, where anime was usually more accessible than other foreign cartoons because it was broadcast on national television due to the fact that it was somehow cheaper to distribute and dub into Spanish than, say, American cartoons. It's no exaggeration to say that Dragon Ball Z shaped an entire generation of Latin American kids from the mid to late 90s. The original Dragon Ball, which is actually from the 80s, was also just as influential for us because older anime shows were also rerun regularly at the time. Now, this one blurb alone makes you want to go down a rabbit hole of specifically why foreign cartoons were cheaper to distribute and dub into Spanish than American ones. Part of my immediate instinct is to think, oh, is just dubbing and translating something into English more expensive, or English translators and localizers just charging higher rates? Like what, or is it just the fundamental currency relationship that makes it more expensive to translate into English, or just, American cartoons, I'm assuming English here, than to go from Japanese to Spanish. So fascinated by this. And it's one of those things that I feel like is probably like, oh, yeah, of course. But it's just something I never thought of myself personally. So like seeing something that everyone like kind of knows have such a simple, not even simple, because this isn't a simple answer. I think this is something that really could be like its own like follow up into why this is, comes from this interview that is just about a game. So again, it's kind of what I mentioned in my TikTok of why I really just enjoy doing developer interviews, because when you just ask them about their lives and about where they come from, you just learn little things about different places around the world that I don't know when I would have asked this kind of question and got this kind of answer in the future. I mean, I'm 25 and it's taken this long to understand what this relationship is. I was aware of this relationship. Many people are aware of this relationship, but to actually see it is great. Moving along. Other notable influences are Sailor Moon, Evangelion, and Cowboy Bebop. Growing up with these shows pretty much changed our brain chemistry and started a lifelong appreciation for anime and Japanese culture in general. There was a strange resonance and depth in the quality of these stories that called out to us even as young kids. In the case of Dragon Ball, there was something that felt very real about the stakes, the graphic violence, and the relief of having someone like Goku to rely on to save the day when things are at their most dire. In spite of this, or perhaps because of this, Dragon Ball also serves as a lesson in standing up to oppression and fighting for your friends. A lesson on tolerance, on learning how to work with people who are different from you, even from another planet, for the greater good. Needless to say, it was a very formative experience. And I just love the way that this is Artson. Hello to you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Please tell me that you are, and if you're not, that's okay. But as I want to get a little bit more into something that I said on my TikTok, because I wasn't rushing the TikTok, but I kind of wish I had phrased it a bit different. I love the clarity in understanding what the relationship to Dragon Ball was here. This is also kind of just the advantage of having a written interview. Like, I think there are benefits to doing live interviews where you're talking to someone and you can ask them on the fly questions. And even with this said, I would prefer most of my interviews to be ones done over the phone or over FaceTime, where I could actually talk to them in like a more kinetic beat for beat conversation. But the thing that I have liked about asking questions over email and getting responses where people are willing to give them to me is that it gives them time to really think, like really get to the source of what they are being asked. And should they choose, give like a really fleshed out answer that gets right to the point of things. Because this is an answer that is ultimately written rather than being transcribed. And with that space, they've had this opportunity to really be like, no, Dragon Ball was political for us. Dragon Ball was about standing up to oppression, fighting for your friends, and about tolerance. Things in which most of the time we're talking about Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. You know, no shade to the larger community of Dragon Ball, which is incredibly diverse and full of wonderful people. It's just not much of the conversations that happen on bigger platforms. He said he'd been super busy, so pretty okay. Okay, nice. I'm glad. I hope that finishing projects makes you feel accomplished. I'm feeling pretty good myself. Talking about this interview that I published finally earlier today. I really like how this interview came out. I've been telling it to everyone. I've been showing it to people. That's why we're talking about it right now. And so I'm generally feeling pretty good today. Yeah, thank you for asking. If you got the chance to write it or not write it, read it, please let me know what you think or anything you're taking about from it. Now, this is the part that I didn't talk about on my TikTok, and this is something I wanted to spend just a little bit of time on the stream talking about, was the answer to this question. Because, as I said earlier, the thing that's really impressive to me about Water Stars is the fact that it really is an homage to 80s and 90s anime, while not feeling like it's explicitly taking everything from that period. There's a very tangible intention to what influences it's taking and which ones it's leaving behind from its favorite works. And so this is the question that I asked them. Your game successfully pulls off the balancing act of paying respect to its influences while ensuring a unique story still comes through. How did you decide what to take and leave out from your inspirations? Did developing this game change how you think about those inspirations at all? Here was Paper Castle's response. First, thank you. Our main goal with the story and our influences was to make something that looked both distinct and nostalgic, like some kind of cult classic you might have heard of but didn't catch while it was on the air, and now all that is left is a dusty VHS collection with fan subs edited on. Fan subs, man, the work that y'all be doing on YouTube, translating some of this stuff for people that don't have Crunchyroll, God's work. Moving along. Deciding what to take and what to leave behind from our inspirations was actually pretty easy. We embarked on a rewatch journey for all our biggest influences, and even though we approached this with the utmost appreciation and respect, it was pretty immediate to notice certain differences and values that have become more apparent with the passage of time. Most of these value dissonances center around fan service and the objectification of women, which is something we actively set out to encounter. Well, hey, it's not going anywhere anytime soon, so get to it when you can. I'm just reading a little bit more first. There's one thing we did come to appreciate from these influences while developing this game, which is the difficulty that most of these creators had while coming up with an overarching story originally meant for serialized manga that would eventually be adapted to the animations that we all know and love. Just to get paused to talk about these two sections right here a bit more, every time I've talked about Dragon Ball Z on stream with friends in any setting where I'm having conversation with people, I will always say the same thing. That man Master Roshi needed to be arrested in Master Roshi in Dragon Ball. I mean, locked up, key thrown away, maybe thrown to a whale so it swallows it. Deadly serious. Deadly serious. That man was creepy, a pervert, close to being pedophilic in several moments with his relationship with Bulma. It was crazy the way Master Roshi was acting on Dragon Ball. You know, he was towing that line like he wanted to play jump rope. Now, with that being said, it's not that Master Roshi was the only issue. There's a lot of subtle things and very explicit things. Neo, you're fine. We love the energy here. We're having just a conversation right now. We're chilling. Today's a chill stream, but also a big one. I'm sorry you came in here with the woo as I was talking about perverts, but we don't all have good timing. So it is how it is. It is how it is. But Master Roshi wasn't the only problem, you know? Just looking back on the original Dragon Ball, and even current Dragon Ball Z, it's you know, no secret that I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's no big secret that older shonen anime was and still is a pretty male dominated genre, in the sense that many of the heroes doing the heavy lifting, the saving of the day, are male characters. Maybe not, definitely not as much as back in the day, but like back in the 80s and 90s, women were constantly being put in the position of being needed to be saved, of having incredibly one-note personalities, kind of only existing in relation to their male counterparts, and the male counterparts' want and needs, and being vehicles for their male counterparts' wants and needs. And again, just the general fan service and objectification of women, not just for the men in the show, but the men that would be watching this. Just a lot of anime and manga back then was being created from the perspective of catering to a male audience that was perpetually 13. So it's really interesting to see the clarity in which Paper Castle approached this, being like, we love this era. We love this era of anime. We love this era of manga, but we completely understand that a lot of it was kind of gross. A lot of it could be left back in the 80s and 90s, you know? A lot of it is stuff that could be gone to the wayside. And it's been something that's been interesting for me to think about recently because, you know, last year I watched almost all of Yu Hakusho, minus the last 10 episodes, which is hilarious to me. But I watched, and I still got to watch those last 10 episodes. I still want to. But the thing that's so interesting to me about Yu Hakusho is holds up magnificently. Phenomenal show. Like, genuinely, like, maybe top 10 shonen anime of all time. Actually, definitively top 10 anime shonen of all time. But with that being said, something that immediately jumps out is that core group is all men. Hiei, Yusuke, Kurama? I think it's Kurama. And big boy with the pompadour, I forget what his name is right now. Kuwabara, I think. Yeah, Kuwabara, something like that. Solid cast. None of them are creepy. Many of Yusuke himself literally equal left, equal rights when it comes to anybody. And the show even has like a transgender character in here that has better handling of it than I've seen in certain like modern shows. But with that being said, not a lot of like strong woman characters also putting in the same work that the guys were. Still definitely male dominated, with the incredible exception of Genkai, the sensei for Yusuke in the show, who is a tour de force in the show. Make no mistake, like she's like probably the biggest mark against the argument, but it's still one character that comparatively to everyone else doesn't even get that much screen time. She has a huge presence in the show, make no mistake. She's awesome, love her. But again, even on what I would consider a great example of a show that doesn't have that many things wrong with it in terms of this, it's still not really hitting on all cylinders and just like not really putting in the work to examine it. So to see a studio that immediately recognized this in the process of doing it and said to themselves, we're going to be making a game that actively sets out to counter that, which I would say they do. Like if you like looking at Wander Stars, just scrolling back up, Wander Stars is a 80s and 90s anime video game that is uh, front loads and centers around a incredibly strong 13-year-old girl whose co-buddy, co-pilot in the seat is a gay wolf man. um, and their dynamic is incredibly reminiscent of not even they're partners, but also clearly the relationship you would expect a teenage kid to have with a begrudgingly tough exterior, soft interior, like young to middle-aged adult. The game implies he's more younger rather than middle-aged. So I'll say more like a young adult, but like definitely jaded. And that dynamic has very much like a father-daughter energy to it. Maybe older brother, younger sister at times. So just to see that dynamic play out and kind of, I can see how it was born from the mindset that they talked about here, which was really cool. And just seeing that intention actually appeared in the game in the final product is really, really nice and shows that it's really not hard to make the kind of game that just, avoids being crazy. That's hilarious. I just looked at one of the badges next to NeoCity's name for like the first time and will understand what it actually means, and that's hilarious. And then just to finish off this part of the segment, the script for Wander Stars wasn't locked down until the very last stages of production, which is hilarious. For one of the better stories I've seen this year, definitely not the best. I will say that. It's not the best story I've seen this year. That still probably goes to Citizen Sleeper 2, Keep Driving close second. Promise Mascot Agency, probably fighting for second, but ends up for third for games that I've played at least. But Wander Star Story is still a lot of fun and I enjoyed it. So then understand that this all came together in the last stages of production, especially with just kind of the bombasticness that the last two episodes of Wander Stars has, is hilarious. A lot of things that might seem as setups or fresh adding in early episodes of the game were actually added after the fact, which is the complete opposite approach that artist like Akira Toriyama had when working on their stories. Upon rewatch, the cell arc from DBZ is almost comical in the way it keeps introducing villain after villain just because the editor wasn't satisfied with the look of the main bad guy. All its iteration gave us a newfound appreciation for their hard work to keep stories fresh and engaging while also maintaining a sense of consistency. So even that, they were able to engage with the way that the artists behind their favorite stuff had their approach and the ways in which it impacted the work and what it made them think about with their own stuff. So overall, I was really happy with this interview. Can't wait to do more in the future. Can't wait to see what else Paper Castle has cooking in the future. Even if it's not another 80s or 90s anime inspired thing, I am just very excited to see what a studio that shows so much care and intention with their approach to their work is cooking up. I also just dropped the link to it in the description again if you wanted to just give that a look-see when you want. Now it's time to move on to the main event of today. So, the Game Awards. I forgot that there's this fucking picture of Snoop Dogg and his son. Okay. So, yesterday. Well, let's actually start here. Not here, that's funny for a different reason. So yesterday, we saw the nominees for the Game Awards get revealed, which sparked off that's like curling shades. Okay, that's hilarious. That sparked off the usual discourse about what got nominated, the legitimacy of the Game Awards, the usual stuff. And I usually don't talk about the Game Awards that often. I've talked about it probably twice in ways that have ever been published. The YouTube video that I made last year, that wasn't even really about the Game Awards, but we used the Game Awards as a launch pad to talk about the Indie Game Awards, which we'll talk a little bit about here today, and what we're going to talk about today. The TLDR of this is I probably for the foreseeable future will not be watching the Game Awards, and we're going to get into why in a bit. To discuss what we're talking about today, first, I want to talk about what we're not going to be talking about today. Because this is officially a beef. This is officially a rant. This is officially me being upset. It's not going to be a mindless rant. It's one of the few times where I literally have notes. You see this in big capital letter Game Award beef. I have issues. I got problems. But before we even get into the things that I have issue with, I'm going to first clarify what you're not about to hear. What I'm not about to get into is nominations, nominees, or even the award categories themselves on this one, even though I think some of the award categories are things we should talk about at a different date with other awards, just not this one. The reason that we're not going to be talking about nominations and nominees is because I just don't care. And I don't think you should either. Not because these games aren't good. Many of the games, if you take a look at just the Game of the Year awards very quickly, are perfectly fine. Let me move myself out the way real quick. Like it's Death Stranding, it's Hades 2, it's let me get the chat out the way too. There we go. It's Hades 2, it's Hollow Knight Silksong, Donkey Kong, Clair Obscur, like a bunch of stuff that was completely predictable to be on the Game of the Year nominee list for the Game Awards. And that's kind of part of the reason I just also didn't care. The thing about nominations, and I think this is something that a lot of people kind of already feel or know in some way, but I think it bears worth repeating for people that are newer to the conversation. We just need a reminder. Two things. Award shows in general, at the end of the day, are going to come down to what the panel of judges were able to play or felt the urgency to play in a given year. They understand that there, on some level, there's certain things that they have to play, that they have to meet up and just see if it's worth because of the larger conversation, driving recognition, and cultural cachet for certain games. To give you an example, there was no version of the Game Awards that in some way or another was not going to talk about Hollow Knight Silksong. There's no version of the Game Awards that was not going to talk about Hades 2. Like the few things that are like more sleeper surprises on here, Clair Obscur, which no one expected to be the game that it was. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, maybe. Death Stranding 2 was a Kojima game, so again, even though that doesn't automatically mean it was going to be there, knowing Jeff Keighley's hard on for that man, it was always going to be in discussion. And Nintendo game with Donkey Kong Bonanza wasn't necessarily going to be a layup, but again, one of those things that was predictable. These are the kind of games that meet some kind of objective contours of goodness. But with that being said, are they for sure the best games of the year? Probably not. But that's not something you or I would ever really know, because the truth of the matter is not too many, but just many games come out now. Way too many games than people will ever feasibly have the chance of playing. Even if all the judges for the Game Awards did nothing but play games every single day, all year, they would never have a chance of playing everything that came out or giving even the appropriate space and time to think about everything once it comes out and really understand their relationship with it. The amount of games is just too massive for any singular person or even company to tackle. And that's not even to get into the way into how disjointed the larger gaming sphere is, because there's no singular industry. There's arguably not even an industry, more just a loose ecosystem of tangentially small spaces that are sometimes connected, and sometimes one thing gets so big that it breaks into the other one, and now what feels new was already known somewhere else. I feel like the gaming space is best thought of, rather than an industry, the damn Amazon rainforest at this point, if we're being completely honest. It's just too big. It really is. For people to feasibly think there was one consistent through line in which you think about it or which to discuss it. So with that being said, to even try and have like a definitive game of the year amongst everything feels not even misguided, but just impossible. There probably are games that might be as good, if not better, than several of the things on this list, not even to mention the games that did have huge cultural cachet, like Blueprint, for instance, or I forget, there was another one that people were talking about. I mean, for me personally, half of the games that I've developed this year aren't even on here. They're on the Indie Game Awards one, which we'll get to later. But Blueprints being a big one for something that's not here. Citizen Sleeper 2 is my personal like favorite game from this year. I'm purposely not saying game of the year. My favorite game from this year. But like stuff like that, it's just not going to be on this kind of list. And that's one thing. The second big thing to always remember is that at the end of the day, taste and what considers good is incredibly subjective. While there are certain things that I think everyone can look at and be like, okay, yeah, this is like good, or like these are what you expect when you're looking at that. At the end of the day, the games are going to make the biggest impression on me, that are really going to click with me, are going to be things that I know are in my alley or up my taste that's been developed at this point for decades. I've been playing video games for a very long time, and video games as an entire artistic medium, well, incredibly babyface still, it's been around long enough for people to know what they like. Even from a commercial perspective, video games are being recognized as a mature audience from speaking commercially, meaning that people progressively know what they want out of them. They know what games they're going to be looking at. So with that in mind, a lot of people's favorite game that they played this year, or whatever they would call their game of the year, is going to be things that probably just maximize their taste, maximize the things that they know that they really like. And that in and of itself creates a tension of looking at something like this and being like, yeah, a lot of these games I'm sure are cool, but to like, what does it matter to me when I know exactly what the best game I played this year was from my personal taste? So even from that perspective, have like talking about nominees in a way in which personal preference is attached, ultimately feels like a losing game. So that's kind of why anything that you hear from me, what got nominated is not a factor on what I'm about to talk about. If you want to have this kind of conversations, I think end of year conversations about games is fun. And I have an entire different feeling about game of the year as like a concept in of itself that's better saved for a different time. So let's actually get to the Game Awards itself. Right now in front of me, I have on the 2024 Game Awards from last year. 14 million views, streamed around December of last year. I'm just going to have this play on the background. I'm going to have it muted as I'm jumping around. Or actually, what I want to do first is, I did want to do this in a specific way. The first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to look at Jeff Keighley's opening statements until he talks about the first guest. Important context, too, that I do want us to talk about. If you do not remember, the opening act of the Game Awards itself is 30 minutes in which several awards are actually given out, which in and of itself is not something that I love, depending. Because, for example, something that you'll see here, so you have things that feel, to put it kindly, like the Game Awards treats like throwaway awards, which in an awards show, fundamentally, when there are awards that you feel like you can treat as throwaway awards, is a red flag for me. And I'm saying this now because the through line for everything that I'm going to be talking about today is that my biggest gripe with the Game Awards and why I don't foresee myself watching it live anymore in the foreseeable future is that it is fundamentally not an award show interested in honoring people. It is one that is fundamentally interested in being a distraction for the industry. We'll get more into that in a second. So again, first off, my biggest issue and point number one on this wonderful list here is realistically the structure of the show. It's not news to say that the Game Awards is much more invested in the trailers that it shows throughout them rather than the actual awards it gives. People have done all types of calculations over the years, but a super majority of this show vastly leans towards trailers, ads, reminders of what games are already out, hints at what's coming, giving certain games long periods of time on the stage to just talk about what they're coming out with rather than actually honoring the people who are winning the awards, like right now with AR and VR, the AR and VR awards. This in and of itself kind of fundamentally shows where Jeff Keighley has placed the prioritization of the Game Awards to be at. It is meant to be a marketing event first, honoring the industry second. And while you could say that there would not be eyes on this otherwise? To that, I say all depends on how much legwork you put in. There are ways to make the Game Awards different where you could definitely be attracting the same amount of eyeballs on this if you really wanted to, and save all of the trailers, ads, and all that simply for a separate event, if not an event at all. Um, and I don't think there's any better proof than this than the fact that Jeff literally has an event like that at a different time of year, and it's called Summer Game Fest. And while a lot of people have tried and prop it up as like separate E3, I think Summer Game Fest is significantly different in E3 in ways in which you don't even really make the comparison for the two. Um, Summer Game Fest is just its own smorgasbord of trailers that come out. Um, so with that being said, there really isn't anything stopping him from kind of just separating the trailers in the awards part of things for two separate nights, evenings, or events. I think if you really wanted to, you can make the award portion of the show just as interesting as anything else and keep it pushing. And I know that because when you go on YouTube and you look at the stuff that has views, when you look at what people are engaged with, people love learning about how games were made. People like understanding game design. They like hearing developers talk. They like when people are given time to talk about the games that they enjoy playing. And so it's completely possible for there to be a version of the Game Awards that does maintain just as much interest. It probably won't be 14 million. I won't be saying that. But you will still have enough traction for people to understand that this is a major event that people should be paying attention to, and not make it just a trailer fest at the same time. If you want a trailer fest, you can either just drop a bunch of trailers at one time and tell people to go nuts themselves online on YouTube later, like millions of people often end up doing, as you can see with any number of the trailers that drop after the Game Awards, or just hold a separate event. It is completely possible to do that. And I think would be significantly more respectful to the people that win these awards than the way that they get treated more often here. So that's A. Now, next thing that I kind of want to get to. Hold on, what's this other? That's also the other thing. Another quick aside. I hate that the accessibility award is in the pre-show and the opening act for the first 30 minutes and not part of the main event. For all the strides that video game has made in making gaming more accessible, with the with the steps publishers have taken to standardize accessibility tags, with things like able to play that like people with disabilities know what games may or may not cater to their needs, which is more accessibility controllers coming out. There have been genuine strides made in the space, even with the Nintendo Switch 2 being called a significant improvement over the Switch in terms of just being an accessible device. To have this award in the pre-show when you know there's not going to be a lot of eyeballs on it shows a certain amount of like just othering that I don't like. Like, this should be a focal point of your show. There should be a part of your show that is very explicit in its willingness and what's the word I'm looking for? Prioritization of making sure that there is space for people with disabilities in gaming. Not just because it's the good thing to do and the right thing to do, it's good business sense too. More people that can play games just means more people that can play games, more money coming in, more people getting their hands and looking at things. But also, like, I think the number is, it said like 1 in 3 people that play video games have some kind of disability. That's a third of all people that play games. That's gigantic. That's huge. Maybe not all of them know that they have a disability, but enough of them do. And it will sure be helpful in making them feel included and making them have access to this art form that everyone should have access to. If this kind of award was put in the center of the show when people know other people are looking at it. And so just to have this in the pre-show, which, like, again, the fact that it's here is good. I don't want to be like so negative to say this is nothing. The fact that it is here and that it is close to when people would start tuning in isn't terrible, but it's not enough. It's just not enough. So it's a bit of a shame that it's not like a center stage award that yeah, is an award accepted on the big stage. I mean, even this to itself, the fact that this is where people are accepting the award rather than coming onto the stage, getting time to address the crowd and kind of keep their back turned to it, in and of itself, kind of an issue. Um, but now we're gonna skip forward a little bit ahead, and I want us to look at the way that Keeley starts this.
Welcome to the Game Awards 2024. Now, here's your host, the creator of the Game Awards,
Jeff Keeley. I never. Disney Man always comes out with some kind of crazy shoe game. I didn't even know that thing was dazzling. That's insanity.
Good evening, everybody! Welcome to the Game Awards, the biggest global celebration of video games out there, and you have joined us on a very special night, our 10th anniversary. Welcome. You know, when we started TGA in 2014, we had no idea it would become as big as it is around the world. But I felt, like so many of you, that games and the people who make them and the fans deserve a moment like this. You watch this show because games are part of your identity. They mean something to you. And tonight is a tribute to just how far games have come, and despite the challenges our industry faces, where they are going in the future. And let me just tell you, you have tuned in and joined us on a very special night. Our industry is constantly evolving. This year, 4 of our Game of the Year nominees were developed in Japan, 1 in China, China's first ever nomination for Game of the Year, and 1, Balatro, was made by a single guy, Local Thunk, who's here in the audience tonight, in my home country of Canada. Isn't that amazing?
Jen loved her game.
And that's kind of so. To be short about this whole award show, the 10th anniversary award was a better than usual show in general with some of the stuff that they had in here. But that line in particular, the super focus on single guy, especially, and this is probably something that I wouldn't even have maybe honed in so much if it's not something that he did also during Summer Game Fest. And the reason I find it to just leave a very bad taste in my mouth is to push the single developer narrative as hard as Jeff does at times amid an industry that is facing catastrophic amounts of layoffs every single day, or what feels like every single day, but in truth is like every week. This feels a bit insidious. Mostly because it feels like it's trying to paint this picture of being able to make super quality games, super good games with smaller teams or single individuals, which in the same process of just teaching the people who care about this kind of thing, which is really the execs, like the people with the money that decide what games are going to be funded and things like that. Hearing something like this and thinking to themselves or building a narrative in their head that they can do more with less, or if not that, do the same amount with less, I think is a bad precedent to set, or at the very least develop. Because on the one hand, again, contracts the amount of jobs for people that are in this field, while also, what's it called, increasing the burden of work on people who are still there. Because the thing about when you cut the fat from a company, it's not like the amount of work that needs to get done gets less. It just means that the people that are still there now have more work. That's horrifying. That just in an industry that already suffers from things like crunch. If you don't know what crunch is, it's kind of the word that's used for teams when they have incredibly intense hours of heads down, grueling work, talking about 12-hour days, 6 to 7 days a week, usually done when a game's kind of in the final stretch, or just they are kind of facing a deadline that they don't feel they'll make otherwise without intense crunch. And what crunch is and what it looks like in relation to each team has been something that's in constant discussion, because what is crunch when you're a person who's singularly working on a game versus like a team of people being forced to like not go home, or like understanding that they're sleeping at their desk to get things. Like crunch can manifest in very different ways, and sometimes it's a personal discussion, sometimes it's a you need to unionize your workplace and talk to your higher ups discussion. But I say all that to say that when you build this narrative that games are things that can be miraculously made by a single person or with less people and still be these huge projects, I think you put extra burden on an industry that on just a space that does not need it. There's also the fact that truly there were really no games made by like a single person. Like the example that they use here with even Local Thunk. Local Thunk has talked about the way that they made this game over time. Local Thunk has a great dev diary online about this actually, talking about how intense working on Balatro actually was for him, about the mental health struggles he had while doing this, which in and of itself kind of shows that when you have to do something on your own, like a game, well, there's a certain rewardingness to it. When it's your sole focus and you're the only one doing everything, that alone is already a lot of pressure. But he had friends, he had families that supported. He had, crucially, friends and family that play tested the game. Those are people that worked on the game. Those are significant people that worked on the game, actually, because anyone that spent any amount of time listening to developers or have just touched the game that has been clearly not been play tested or gone through the usual quality assurance pipelines know that play testers and like QA people are God's gift to game development. Genuinely. There's no good game that comes out without going through a couple of rounds of people giving their thoughts on it, especially since developers, when they're working on something for a long time, and this is actually true for any creative endeavor, I would say, when you spend so much time looking at your own baby, at your own like work, it becomes very hard to be objective about it. It becomes very hard to understand what's actually good about it and what's bad about it, because you now understand and have worked on this thing to a point where it's impossible to have the lens of a third party. You need other perspectives. At the very least, if you intend to sell it to other people. If you're just making a personal project that's just for you, that you don't really care what happens to it, do whatever the hell you want with it. But if you intend on making something that you actually want to sell, turn into a career, or just turn a profit on, or just make any money from, you need to give it the best chance it has. You need to have other people play it at some point. And so to say it was made by a single guy, while it's true that a super majority of the work was done by a single person, the idea and like the iteration and things like that, it's not a game made by a single guy. And the ways in which other people contributed are significant enough where this is not the narrative you should be crafting around any game, really. Another quick example that I always pull is Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is a game that was in development for a long ass time. And while almost all of what you see and have played in the game, at least in its earlier stages, nowadays, I think it's been said multiple times that he hired more people since the game's been released to help with like the launches, the updates and things like that, and just the community management. When the game was being made, yes, it was him doing the art, the music, and the coding, but he credits his, I think, girlfriend at the time, wife now, with being the person that held it down. She was the one bringing bills. She was the one paying bills. She was the one putting food on the table. She was the one that was taking care of all of their material needs of their relationship, of their home, while he was head down on this game. And it had a massive return, fortunately. It had a massive return. Her work paid off. But to call Stardew Valley a game made by a single person simply does not negotiate with the reality in which it was made. Because without his girlfriend, there is no Stardew Valley. That's just the truth. That's like just the hard truth. And it goes back to just, there really just isn't a game to me that is a solo developed game. At least most of the games that we call solo developed games were not solo developed games. And even the games that were made by small teams were even always made by small teams. This was a huge issue that people were having when talking about Clair Obscur this year. A lot of people kept pushing the narrative about this game being made by a small team of seasoned game developers, of like a handful of people. And while it's true that the core team is not particularly big. I think it's like under 50, maybe even under 40 or something. There were hella contractors. There were hella contractors that worked on Clair Obscur. Lots of hands touched that project outside of just that core team of people that were integral to its success. That's something that the team has said. That's something that other people have said. But a lot of people, Jeff included, I believe, but I think that's something I should check, and I won't just say that, but many people really honed on to that narrative of Clair Obscur being made by a small, scrappy team of people, when in reality, it was a game made by a core team of people that used a lot of contractors that also had a non-insignificant budget beforehand. This wasn't the team working on a shoestring budget that came from saving up the allowance that the grandmother gave them. These guys got a bag beforehand, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying that to try and diminish the amazing game that is Expedition 33. I like that game a lot. It's more about just understanding we need to make sure there's realistic conversations being had about it. And to bring it back to the Game Awards for a second, to use the singular event each year in which you know the most eyeballs are on what is pretending to be a coherent and cohesive industry, and use it to forward this message feels counterproductive at best, a little malicious at worst. So it just kind of sucks.
First, it is a tremendous
I'm also going to turn out
privilege
these
to have
captions
this man
because these
with
captions
us.
are always behind.
Back in the 1990s, he convinced Sony to enter the video game industry with the PlayStation, which this month.
No,
I don't know
again.
about that.
These dishes just
Oh
aren't
God,
made.
I just these things. You know what's also funny? Apparently, the Game Awards partnered with Amazon this year to be streamed on Amazon Prime, which it's kind of in a weird way almost surprising. It took 10 years for that to happen. But you know, I guess someone wanted to see that 14 million number first beforehand. But yeah. Now again, to not be a complete negative Nancy about this, the 10th year show at least was a little bit better than the ones before it. But again, not by much. Okay, so moving on a little, this is a video I made last year talking about the Indie Game Awards specifically, but I want to play this quick 1-minute section from it because I think it gets at a lot of the issues that I just talked about in a succinct way and I want to use it as a way to wrap this up before we get into the other big reason that I have issues with the Game Awards outside of its general structure and where its priorities are, with the way Jeff just talks and the way he runs the show. Because there was a really big thing that kind of came to a head in recent weeks with the future class specifically that I think is worth talking about. But first I'm going to let myself talk for a moment. It's for the Game Awards. It's been 10 years of watching the Game Awards, meaning that it's also been 10 years of watching the same thing that often has the same issues. Now, I do think this year was one of the best in a while. That performance of the arcane music was simply spectacular. There at least was some, if not perfect, actual acknowledgement of the extreme turmoil the industry has been experiencing in the past few years. But the flaws of the show's basic structure are still present, if not scaled up due to the sheer amount of funding being poured into it now. And it's hard to not acknowledge the fact that since so much of the award show is just purely trailers, a lot of the takeaways can be gotten just from viewing it after the fact. So when I start seeing news of the debut indie award games on Blue Sky, yeah, and that's pretty much it. It really is a sense of seeing all these issues compounded into one space and then having it magnified by the amount of funding that this event gets due to Jeff being the one running it, and realistically using all the money that it costs to even be featured in the Game Awards. If you don't know, being featured in these things is expensive. I didn't find the specific numbers for the Game Awards before streaming, unfortunately. But what I did pull was the numbers for Jeff Keighley's other big events, because I feel like they're a good comparison point to understand how much people are paying to be in front of all these eyeballs. If you don't know, the other big event that Jeff Keighley has every year nowadays is Summer Game Fest, like I mentioned earlier. To have a trailer in Summer Game Fest, according to this piece last year, can cost devs up to $550,000. Something that's proportional to the amount of time that you use in it. They say on the low end here, on the low end, developers would pay $250,000 for a 1-minute trailer. The price goes up depending on length, from $350,000 for 90 seconds to a high of $550,000 for 2.5 minutes. That is wild. That number is larger than some studios' entire budgets. That number is the equivalent of like 2 people's salaries. Actually, it might be 3 people's salaries. Game developers don't get paid that much. 3 salaries can go into one trailer for a 1-minute trailer of being at the Summer Game Fest, and that gets less eyeballs than the Game Awards. So I can only imagine how much money it costs to be on the Game Awards. Maybe it's the same. Maybe there's some deals that even make it less, but if I were to be a betting man, and I'm usually not, but if I were, I would say it's more expensive than this. So like, again, this is not an award show that is playing with small amounts of money. This is like a gigantic eye puller, puller both in eyes, but in monetary value. Quick thing. I'm going to also replace the camera battery. This thing dead too, bruh. Oh, it's a good thing I've been charging it for the last hour, though. Put this back on there. Okay. And we're back. But yeah, dude, it's expensive to be at one of these things, and it's expensive to be featured in one of these things, and it's also expensive to attend them, which actually makes for a nice segue into the other big reason that I have serious beef with the Game Awards, and that is its treatment of the future class. Now, we're going to be kind of going through this amazing article that Alyssa Mercant wrote that was published through The Guardian, talking about what happened to the future class. Now, if you don't know what the future class was, the future class was something that was created by Jeff Keighley explicitly to be discussed around and during the Game Awards, and it was supposed to be like a future of the industry type of thing. It was where they would highlight, there's a good, it's right there in the opening. Its purpose was to highlight a cohort of individuals working in video games as the bright, bold, and inclusive future of the industry. Something that's worth noting is that a significant part of the future class cohorts are made up of more marginalized creators. So it had more women involved, had more black, brown, just people of color, more queer people in it as well. It was the future class was meant to show just how diverse and forward-thinking the game industry best and brightest were looking to be, and worth noting, did not statistically reflect what the reality of the game industry is. If you know anything about the game industry, it is still a predominantly white male field. Although I'm trying to remember what the ratio is. I know there's more women working in games than there ever was before. I know the number isn't high though. Still, it's still a pretty dismal number, all things considered. So the future class was kind of what at the time felt like an answer to that, in the sense of, hey, no, there are these type of people working in the games industry or just working in the games field, and they're trying to push the envelope forward and what we can do here, what stories we're telling, and what kind of games we're playing. It's a truly, on its face, an exciting initiative that people who got inducted into it should be proud of getting inducted into, because it is some type of recognition that your work and what you are planning on doing for the future is important. However, what has been quickly to be revealed, and something that got some pretty major movement in this space over the past couple of weeks, was the fact that the future class seemed to be unceremoniously abandoned. Skipping below, In Alyssa Mercant's words, this is the second year in a row Future Class has not announced a new cohort. There are usually 50 inductees across various game industry disciplines, including writing, development, journalism, and community management. As reported by game developer organizer Emily Weir confirmed they are not planning a new Future Class for 2025 and do not have any active programming plans for Future Class. Right there alone, now the Future Class people have their own Discord where they can talk to each other, talk to their mentors or people that are supposed to be their mentors, talk with other class cohorts from different years, which makes sense. But for that Discord to, as had been reported, pretty much been quiet from the official organizers like Jeff Keighley and like Emily Weir until it was time to announce that they were not planning on making a new class or do any active programming for current class members is horrible communication on its face. Aside of all the other stuff that's crazy that we're about to get into, the lack of communication and just deafening silence from the organizers around this type of thing is would be incredibly discouraging on its face. It's the kind of thing where if you knew you weren't going to be giving it any attention, you could at least have given people the decency to know that ahead of time rather than just iced them out. So there's that. And like moving along, previous Future Class inductees say this comes after years of internal advocacy and struggles to improve the program, with the video game industry wrestling with another cultural war over diversity, equity, inclusivity initiatives. Some members of the Future Class feel they were used for positive publicity and cast aside when DEI was no longer in vogue. That's also a very important thing because considering that the last year has kind of been nothing but anti-DEI from the powers that be in the current Trump administration, to see the highest profile event of the world in the gaming space basically throw away its one major program that, while not even necessarily explicitly about DEI, had probably the most representation, inclusivity, forward-facing, shuttered so quietly until everyone started reporting on it. Insane choice. Whether all connections between that and like the larger sequences is conjecture on my part. Jeff Keighley or any official Game Award organizer have not said that's the reason that the Future Class is not moving forward, but it's a very scary thing to happen at the same time as we are watching not just the United States but many countries across the world take incredibly regressive stances against inclusivity in pretty much all stretches of life. Continue forward. We were effectively props. Game producer Diana Laura, who was inducted into first Future Class in 2020, said over video call. Once we got to the Game Awards, most people flew in from other countries, which was expensive. We showed up and it felt like we were pushed to the side door. We found out later that Keighley had a party in another room with all the influencers and industry people. You know where Future Class met that day? At a Starbucks. Crazy. Also, something also worth pointing out about even doing this nowadays, considering the way the Trump administration has been hyper vigilant about any type of critical speech of the president or even the United States of people that are coming into the country and having the ability to be that hyper vigilance due to the way that they have partnered with some of these big tech firms, including Palantir, makes flying into this country a real danger for people. There's no other way to put it. It's a real danger for people. This was a really big type of discussion for even the game for GDC this past year, because GDC, besides already being expensive and taking place in one of the most expensive cities on planet Earth, it being at the time that GDC was happening, or at least turn GDC, but also more specifically SGF, the Summer Game Fest, a hotbed of activity for ICE, who was looking for any excuse to beat up people that they decided were not American enough, basically. This is a very scary reality to have to deal with. So to not only have to deal with just the reality of the broader United States, but then have your chief organizer kind of treat you as an afterthought during this entire process is really disheartening. It's really sad. And again, to me, shows where the priorities of this program really sit at, which is trying to make the game industry seem like this one big cohesive thing that will bring in all the money on the world and just keep pushing forward and kind of be what it is, what I feel like Jeff Keighley wants to be, just like the gaming Oscars of being able to put on a front and a face of excellence for a space that is, in a lot of ways, never been worse off, is just really a cognitive dissonance that is very hard to deal with and feel joy with in participating. Moving along. Actually, not moving along, I just want to go down a little bit here. So just to understand a little bit more about the future class induct program and understand what people were expecting when they join this kind of thing. Future class inductees receive program perks for the next 12 months. A ticket to the Game Awards, alumni were given discounts to buy tickets. Crazy that they're not free, by the way. And access to career advancement opportunities, which is like, pretty cool. That's something that mentorship is something that I think is genuinely huge in any space, but especially game development, with so much of that stuff is kind of the only thing you can know when someone that's been in it for a long time can tell you and set expectations, or just help you with ever-changing tools. But yeah, tickets to the Game Awards and access to career advancement opportunities. Several people refer to the early career-focused events as chats with high-profile industry members, such as former Nintendo president Reggie Fils-Aimé and Xbox head Phil Spencer, rather than proper mentorship programs, though. It felt as if Keeley just called a bunch of his friends to do Zoom calls. If there's one thing about the future class inductees, man, they got humor. I know they're not trying to be funny with this, but reading this out loud, it's just like, yeah, he just called his friends. He said, Kojima, how you doing, baby? You know I miss you. I need you to do a favor for me real quick before you pull up, though. Can you talk to these kids, man? Can you talk to these kids for 5 seconds? Kojima, please, I need you to talk to these kids for 5 seconds. Can you do that for me? Can you at least show like a pinky or something? You can be weird, man. We know you as the weird guy. Just be a little weird. I need you to be a little weird for me. That's what I imagine Jeff Keighley talking to Hideo Kojima is like. Okay, moving along. Let's keep focused. Laura was one of the several future class members who urged Keighley and Weir to improve the program. They fought for everything the 2023 class got. The future class mixer, then putting us up in a hotel for 2 nights, covering the flight. Everything that I got was a result of my previous classmates. So again, it's very interesting too. The future class members themselves seems like a tight-knit group, or if not tight-knit, a group of people who are invested in making sure the ladder does not get pulled up from behind them, and that they actually help the people that are coming in after them. Great attitude to have. Like, to Keeley's credit, or maybe not to his credit, because I don't even know who actually chooses the future class members. They did pull groups of truly talented people. They aren't just like people on the wayside. These are groups of people who like have some sway, and that when they've done stuff, people are paying attention, that they like, and that they are talking about fondly and with some high praise. But then this was probably like the first big thing between Future Class and Keeley, even before the program shuttering this year. 2023 also saw a high-profile clash between the Future Class and Keeley, which members believe accelerated the program's demise. In November, in the wake of increasing media coverage of the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, more than 70 Future Class members signed an open letter requesting a statement be read at the December ceremony expressing support for Palestine and calling for a ceasefire. Though it gained media attention and was posted in the Future Class's Discord, of which both Keeley and Weir belong, the letter was ignored. Now, this was especially crazy because if you watch the 2022 Game Awards, they did something for the Ukraine and Russia war. Like, they actually showed support and gave not like a whole big thing, but they explicitly showed support and talked about being in solidarity with Ukraine against Russia's invasion, which is fine. Russia is invading Ukraine. It's horrible. It's awful. It is a humanitarian crisis that has caused a truly disgusting death toll for both Russians and Ukrainians. It's something that's worth putting attention on. But then to have that happen one year and then purposely choose to not talk about this the next year, which arguably got just as much, if not more, media attention when it started, is insane. It is a very deliberate choice that shows a purposeful dodging with the topic and deliberate dismissiveness of your future class, which is really sad. Following up on that paragraph, not long after, several future class members gave a virtual presentation to Keeley and Weir, acknowledging the importance of the program while expressing concerns about its goals, structure, and sustainability. They offered suggestions for how to improve both the program and the award ceremony in general, such as featuring more female presenters, improved accessibility options, and acknowledgement of the recent deluge of layoffs in the industry. Yunus Rabi, a 2022 inductee, said that Keeley was visibly frustrated during the call, while another member said he was incensed. Keeley and Worker did not respond for comment. Which, I mean, I'm not going to blame them for being upset. If anyone being called out is going to be upset about that. But again, I'm not handing it to them, but I will just acknowledge that the last Game Awards did have attention being given to the amount of layoffs in the industry. Do I think it was good attention or enough attention? No, not at all. Not even a little bit, to be honest. But it was there. They did give a spot to, I forget what the guy's name, but it was that guy who had built not just spreadsheets, but like active programs and frameworks to try and help people that were struggling to find a job in the game industry, get connected with people that were hiring, get connected with other people that were looking for work, and just try and find the ways to bridge the gap between just looking for a job and having one, frankly speaking. Which, like, I think is good work. I think the intent of that is good. And like, I'm not going to ever tell someone to not try and help someone else get hired, especially in this industry. My chief issue with that is it just doesn't address the core systematic issues of why people are getting fired, which, to sum it up, is company want more money. Company want more money. Company want more money because money is leaving the game space for other big tech things like AI right now. Company want more money and thinks developers are the first place to go while not touching the execs' budgets or big salaries. So that's unfortunate. It's one of those things where there's no shade to the person that was being highlighted at that for that thing. It's more just, again, feels like the kind of thing you would do when you don't want to address the actual issues that are happening. Last thing here, every future class member who spoke to the Guardian expressed varying levels of frustration with the program and its untimely ending. Quote, "It's sad that we were part of something great that has amazing people that was left by the wayside," said accessibility consultant Steve Saylor. Quote, "I'm not mad, I'm disappointed," end quote. Many people believe that program was disbanded because the inductees pushed for a better future class. Quote, "You have the influence, you have the power, and you can change shit," Laura said. "But ever since we pushed back, it was like, this is too much trouble, might as well peace out," Checo added. Quote, "As a result of advocating for ourselves, the very thing that we were inducted for, we were punished for doing the same thing that they ostensibly celebrated us for." Yeah, it's just treatment of the program while not negotiating with what you even made the program for. So again, I'm not going to get to the rest of this, but just this treatment of the future class 2, again, goes back to what I started this whole rant about, and the priorities of the Game Awards are not in a place where I think it's actually invested in the future of the industry, or at the very least the people that actually make this any idea of an industry possible, that make games possible. It just seems like he wants to stunt. It just seems like Jeff Keighley is more invested in putting on a big glamorous show that puts on a face of being okay, of an industry existing and of it going forward, rather than helping the people that are struggling en masse right now. It's just sad. It's just sad. So with that treatment also being there, it's kind of left me feeling like the Game Awards is something that I will just not really be watching anymore. Maybe if something changes in a couple of years, it's probably not going to change this year because it's definitely not the climate for me to expect that kind of thing from the Game Awards. But if things change in the future, that'd be great. I will always be in support of things getting better for this. I don't think there's any use to just being like, oh, I hope it doesn't change from there. If Jeff Keighley has an about face or just a reckoning with the way he's ran this thing, absolutely, it'd be cool to tune in again. But till then, I'll just catch any trailers or big news that comes out of that after the fact. There's no contractual obligation for me to watch this. There's no publication paying me to watch it and make things like that. And there's a whole separate conversation to be had about which outlets should and shouldn't be, if any outlets even should be giving this like the time of day, considering the way the post show happens and is rolled out. But I've kind of spent enough time already going off about this. Last thing to mention, which was just funny to me, is the fact that The Game Awards didn't even put their own stuff out here. They really do not be. They do not like being on Blue Sky at all. I think that's hilarious. But that's everything. Oh yeah, last but not least, if you ever want to go look at an award show that I actually do like, just go watch the Indie Game Awards show. There's also the Dice Awards and other things. I don't remember if the BAFTA Awards are things that can be watched, but the Indie Game Awards is having its second year. Had its debut showcase last year. It's phenomenal. Example of an award show that actually gives time of day to the people that win it, that clearly cares about the nominations, and in stark contrast to the Game Awards, every single game that you see there is a game that you can go play right now. It is a game, and you will likely see a lot of games that you had never heard of because of the way that it makes sure that you're not seeing the same game, same game across multiple categories. They make sure it's actually structured in such a way where you are seeing as many games as possible while making sure you're not being unrealistic about what should feasibly be an award. Just to pull up its Game of the Year list, because I think it was funny how many games from this list I actually had ended up playing compared to the one of the Game Awards. Because I played Claire's Cure, I played Ann Roger, I played Keep Driving, I've played Innocent Sleeper 2, have watched a lot of Blueprints, I've not played it. Consume Me is on my list of things to play. And I keep going back and forth. I want to play Absalom. I've heard so many good things about it, and it seems like it's going to be up my alley, actually. So it's something that's on the back burner. Whether or not I ever play Sue Hollow Knight Silksong, I probably will play them at some point. I don't feel a rush to. I really don't. Their moment in my life will come, and I'm sure I will gush and gab over it when it's worth it. Very much feeling like a game to play over the holidays for me, type of thing. But yeah, I think that is it on that portion of the stream. That took a long time. When did I start talking about that? And then it was like, what, 40 minutes or so of me yapping about that? Well, and we got ourselves about 40-ish minutes left. I think that means we can play some demos. Close all this up. I'll decide whether or not I cut this up and make this into a YouTube video later. It might be good to just do that. I might have to blot out Neo City chat thing that's just been standing there for like the last hour and a half of just the first thing I heard was pedophile. God, word language is so funny, man. Oh, you know what? I didn't even get to show you guys. I was so busy yapping that I forgot to even like put y'all on, man. I finally have the honor of a new controller, dude. I finally got a new controller, man. This is an 8-bit Do Ultimate Wireless controller. Ultimate 2 wireless controller, let me correct myself. I've had it for not a full week. I've had it since Friday when I set it up. And dude, I can't even like tell you how much my gaming experience has felt significantly different now that I'm not having to readjust my controller every 5 minutes and watching it turn off. I'm playing games I haven't touched in weeks, if not months, because I finally got my stuff together, dude. It's really nice to actually have something working again. So with that in mind, I kind of want to pick a demo that requires me to use a controller just cause. Although I'm realizing, where is my demo stuff? So I don't want to play Dust Punk again right now. Does this require a controller? Does this use a controller? Do I even want to play another psychological horror game right now? Or a demo? Okay. Wait. Why is someone talking about like this game is playable right now? This game is not playable right now. Oh god, that looks gross. Oh god, that looks really gross. How long will it take to update this? Because maybe we can just get this out the way. This only has 102 megabytes. Yeah, we'll play this. Sometimes you gotta play things that you dread. Sometimes you gotta play things that you dread, guys. Is there anything else? Nah, I think I gotta suck it up. I definitely gotta suck it up. Hurts, brother. Hurts, brother. Alright, let's get this turned on. Now, what was the name of this? This game was called What Hides in Dreams. Alrighty. Let's change this up. Does this have a Steam category or a Twitch category? I mean, no, it does not, man. That is 3 for 3 games that I have found that do not have Twitch categories yet. Oh, why can't I? Oh, do I need to move it like this first? Oh. Gray logo is barely visible and can roughly make out the woman in the screenshot. Oh, there is a woman in that screenshot. Jesus. Okay. Save and continue. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Who's that up there?
Another day of suffering, and soon another night.
I could have sworn I just
now
saw
rest those weary bones and embrace death's brother.
Okay. Okay. Got items. What did it say with the right trigger? Okay. Left trigger read. A dismiss. Hey honey, kiddo wanted to see your grandma and I figured you would be out late again. We were heading over to my mom's place and we'll be staying the night. I know you're busy finishing that novel. I don't want to get in the way of that, but please try not to stay up so late and wear yourself out so much tonight. We'll be back in the morning. I'm hoping we can do something together tomorrow. Brick might do you some good for your writing. Good night. Okay, sure. What's going on? This is grandmother? She always said she wanted to spoil my kid, but she didn't. What the hell's going on to the right over there? Is that an item? What is that? But she didn't have enough to do it. For you know, it's still one of the worst days of my life. Golly. Alright, see, we're all positive today. Grandfather. An old photo my grandfather gave to me and my father. I was told he was out for writing. I was also told he didn't pursue to the extent that I have. Can't tell if people thought that was good or bad. Ew. Why is it moving so slow? The hell is it so dark for? Is there a way to move faster? Oh, hello. What the? Oh no, dude. Why is that a... Oh god, I hate that. Okay. To do, oil change, rotate tires, break down boxes / throw away. I thought that was like an L or something. That does not look like a slash mark. Take stuff and car to parents. Get old computer recycled. Grocery shopping. Hold an object. Left trigger to throw it. Press and hold D-pad down or right thumbstick to rotate object. Oh, okay, I see. Interesting. Oil change, oil change. I don't know how to do an oil change. I really don't actually. I also forgot immediately what I'm even supposed to be doing right now. I don't want to play this. I'm realizing as I'm doing this, I'm not in a mood to play this actually. All that talking earlier does not make me want to play something new, and I feel like this is not giving this demo a fair shot as a result. This family is also kind of freaking me out. You know what we're going to do instead, actually? We're going to play rematch. I think I just decided we're actually just going to play rematch. We're going to play rematch because that's what I feel like doing. And there's no one especially here right now anyway. So I can make this decision on the fly and no one will notice unless they watch this back this far. Where is rematch? There it is. Here's the last 30 minutes to just get some fun going. I need fun, I'm realizing. That's what it is. I need to do something fun because talking about the Game Awards just now actively kind of made me sad. It kind of killed my mood a little. Not a lot, but just a little. Alright, let me change the information. I'm also going to change this to rematch. Rematches return. There we go. Okay. Someone did comment as I was switching that out. Keep that in between us. Ain't that our secret? So going to fix this again. There we go. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Just dig right into a ranked match. This will also be good because we'll be able to play The Witcher with the controller now. And I remember how to play The Witcher with the controller much better and much more comfortably than I knew how to play with mouse and keyboard. I haven't forgotten about The Witcher. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we played it. But I haven't forgotten about it. I will say, playing Rematch again, it's been really funny because I feel like in some weird ways, it's not the glitchy mess that it was when we last played it, but it definitely still has a time issue. Like, I don't know if this is one of those things of like there's just not a lot of people playing the game, or a issue of it still just struggles to pad out a full match. But good lord, is it? It's got some long wait times. I also just gotta remember how to. Since it's been a while, I gotta like do a little bit of the free play each time to remind myself. There we go. And if I remember correctly, if I go up just a little bit here, and that's not high enough. It's my dream one of these days to get a goal from the halfway line. I can't remember if I have before, but it's a little difficult still. Can't remember if I go all the way up and still got it. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. I gotta do this. There we go. The more the arc I was hoping for. There's an article to be made of things you can do before you get into a rematch match. It's not going to be a kind article if it ever does get made. But it is. Oof, good lord. It takes forever to get this going. It's a shame because it's one of those games that feels like it's just constantly in the way of its own success, like honestly, because it is so fun. Like the minute I get into a match, I don't think, I'm no longer thinking, about all the problems with it. I'm flowing. I'm feeling it. I'm enjoying myself. The minute I'm outside of a match, though, I have too much time to think about this game's issues. It really is just a matter of this game needs to get out of its own way. It really does. Ooh. You know what we can do while we wait, actually? Because it is still taking long. We can play a match of reunion. Things you can do while waiting for a rematch match. Play Merriam-Webster's Reunion. Oh my god. Oh, wait, we got into it. The reunion game will have to wait. Oh, damn it. I wanted all black. That's still legal. Little Strap, Zakif, and Dragon Steel. This is a team of winners if I've ever seen one.
Square it.
God damn, dude, you gotta let the ball go at some point. Brother.
My bad.
Ah, damn it. That was actually, it's all good. It's all good. That was a good little moment. We almost had that. Yes.
To me.
Cross it. Back post. Cross it.
Oh, god damn it.
Well played. Here. Square it.
Oh. I'm getting an assist. I'm getting an assist. Oh, good lord, no. That's not even his fault. That's not even his fault. We should have had one person back. And I probably should have actually brought that ball more in after putting it in. I will say though, we were putting good pressure on, so I don't think this is unsalvageable in the slightest. Let's go.
Square it.
Oh. There we go. There we go. Save that. Save that. Nope. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yes. Good job. Keep going. Keep going. Get the pressure going. Yes. Pass it up. Pass that up. That's beautiful. Oh no, that was good playmaking though. Genuinely.
Sorry.
Ooh. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Who's staying back? Who's staying back? I gotta stay back. I gotta stay back. I gotta genuinely stay back. Oh my, I'm so stupid. Oh my god, I'm so fucking stupid. Oh my god, that was embarrassing. Oh. I'm out of stamina.
I've got it.
Finish that. Oh. There we go. Finally did something right today. Well, that's disappointing. Damn. Damn. Yeah, he just one-tapped that. Oh. Can't even be mad at the goalkeeper too much. The minute you think the ball going anywhere, you go for that dive. It's instinctual.
To me.
I'm on it. Cross it.
Oh.
Cross it. Cross it. Cross it. Good job. Cross it.
I mean, you can complain about me taking the shot, or you can just come back down. We're not winning, so we gotta take some shots.
Back post. Cross it. Cross it.
Oh,
I'm on it.
To me. Cross it. Cross it.
nice.
Well done.
To me.
Oh, fuck, we're all up here. We're all up here. We're all up here. We're all up here.
Nice. Good job. Nice.
Pass that, pass that, pass that, pass that.
Well done. Thanks. Checkers. Thanks, mate. Good job. Thank you. Well done.
They did the same thing to us twice. They did the same thing to us twice. Good lord. Maybe we should have stuck with a horror game. This might be scarier. This performance might be scarier, honestly. Oh, someone left. Someone left. Someone on our team left.
Checkers.
Ugh. Nice. Nope, that was... Oh.
Here.
I like that these guys aren't giving up. I will say that. 3-0. 3-0. A lot of people would have left the match over less.
Good job.
I like someone at least stick it to the end. Yeah, I wasn't falling for that again. That was about to happen.
Well played.
Oh,
Well done.
We got this.
Play. Good job. Well done. Good job.
Dragon Steel is not having a good time.
Good job.
Oh. Oh, I was not about to let that happen. That was scary. It's over regardless, but hey, I'll take not being scored on. I'll take not being scored on after all that saves. I need something to walk away in the game with. In a 3-0 game, being a goalkeeper that didn't get scored on, I'll take that. I'll take that. Oh, look at my character. He's so sad. He knows that loss came at kind of heavy personal cost. Well, you know what time it is. It's time to play reunion. It's time to play reunion. It is time to play reunion. Oh, no it's not. No it's not. No it's not. I gotta just have one thing open for reunion at all times. Stretch that out a little. Okay. Oh, damn it. I want it to be black. Okay. Should probably be maybe not our last match, but our second to last match today. So let's lock in. Let's lock in. I want to go off on a winning record. Okay, nice. Yes, yes, right here. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. We got this. We got this. Let's keep the positivity high. Nice. Let that go to keeper.
Switch.
Down the line.
Oh, oh. Well. Oh. There we go. Oh my god, the immediate pass up. That's what I'm talking about. Don't get me wrong, me not capturing the balls would led to that whole situation in the first place. Oh, damn it. I was in the right place. That was going to miss, even if the goalie didn't save that, unfortunately. It just wasn't exactly on goal the way it needed to be. Oh, wait. Walk that up, walk that up, walk that up, brother. Oh. It's okay, we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this. No reason to be negative, no reason to be negative. Oh, okay. I hauled ass down that field. I hauled ass down that field. Oh, that needed to be probably a little bit more of like a little tee up type situation, little rainbow kick. Not rainbow kick, what's what I'm looking for? So yeah, I'm looking for a rainbow kick. Oh. Oh, damn it.
My fault.
Nice. Amazing. Amazing. Nice. No, that was perfect choice right there. Hell yeah. OG Nuka. Ooh, that was actually kind of a hard read too because the other players are kind of in front of the goalie. Interesting choice. Interesting choice. Oh, almost had that. That was good. That was good. That was good. I love when I'm with the team that can pass, man. There's nothing more fun than a team that can pass. And a team that can be positive too. I mean, it's easy to be positive when we're winning, to be fair, but like it is just nice to like, it's just nice. Hanging back, I'm hanging back, I'm hanging back. Go. Oh. Oh. That's my bad, that's my bad. Thought he was gonna be moving up more of the field, that's my bad. Oh no! Oh. Yeah, that was like I think everyone was in the right place. Oh, he jumped up. He jumped up. He did jump up. Oh, it's okay though. That's okay though. That was gonna be hard to predict regardless. Nice. Okay. Oh. Good God, being goalie is tense. Good God, being goalie is tense.
Good job.
Nice. Crazy way to use the wall. Where you going with this? Where you going with this? Who's to my right? Who's to my right? Amazing. Okay. Amazing. Just launched it. Just launched it. I think
I got it.
oh,
Mine.
oh. Interesting.
Pass.
I gotta get out. Gotta get out the way. Oh.
Back post.
Oh.
Seconds.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks.
Oh. Just using the back of that board, man. Just using that backboard. Ambitious. It's feeling more. Oh. That was scary.
Up yours.
Square it.
We got this.
Oh. There we go. There we go. We might have time for one more match. If we get a match within the next 3 minutes, I think we'll have time for one more. Otherwise, I think we'll call it. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Oh, it is time to move on to reunion while we wait. All right, what's on today's reunion board? All right, so we got Daro. Now, what word already has that O something and E? This is fine. It's not gonna be. That's that O. That's an O bone. No, a tone. Excuse me. Ozone. Yeah, ozone. All right. So we got ozone. We know that E is gonna be somewhere here. Now, what has this ROGT structure like this? What is this? Dope. Adopt. It's giving adopt energy. Yep, it's giving adopt energy. Okay. So we have adopt. It's giving that adopt is going to be the full word here. So I don't think we're looking at anything longer than this. If there was an extra E or a D, that would make sense, but it's not. So now what's going to be here? Gitty. I think that's not going to be that, actually. I just don't know what else that would work. Oh, rematch starting. Reunion and rematch, the 2 R's. So let me adjust this one last time. Alright, it's probably the last game. Let's lock in, hopefully we finish out on a win. Can't control anything that's not outside our fates. Oh, push up, keep pushing up. Oh, my bad. Tearing that around, buddy. Let's go. Oh no.
My bad.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Because I know that was embarrassing. There's nothing worse than being that guy. It really, really isn't. Oh no. You Nick, it's okay. You Nick, it's okay. I can't even be mad at him for real because he's exactly where he needs to be. He's just, good lord. Everyone on both teams just making some bad first plays. We should have been scored on there. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a miracle we weren't. That was a good. That was good. That was good. That was good. We're clearing up what we need to do now. It's crazy because I'm getting these little weird interceptions, but I'm just not like. Right back to him. Right back to him. Amazing. Amazing. Oh my god. The Eddie Murphy doc? I did not see the Eddie Murphy doc. What's going on to survive? I heard you know what? You're not the first person to ask me this. Who also brought this up? It wasn't in stream, but it was somewhere else. How is it? I'm assuming if you're asking, it's a good one. What they sharing about Mr. Murphy? Oh, did I do that a little too far? Oh, he needed to let that ball go earlier, but it's okay. No one. That's the one. That's kind of the one thing about being on voice chat in this game. If I was on voice chat, I would have been able to tell him that someone's coming up behind him fast. So that's kind of also just hard to know that. Hard to know that without someone telling you. Oh, good lord! I just tried to get the fast release on that. The exact opposite of what we thought it would be. Oh, okay. I hope that's in a good way. I hope that means in a good way. For as much as you probably will make a safe bet by assuming most big Hollywood men are, if not bad, not good. It's good to. It's always nice to be pleasantly surprised by someone. Well, yes, in a good way. Nice. No, I like to hear that. That's good. That's good. Genuinely good. Oof. I know that team pissed on the other end. Who's gonna go? You gonna go up? You gonna go up? You gonna go up? Ah.
Well played.
Oh shit. There we go. Oh. Oh no. Oh, no one was in front. That was gonna be tough for everybody. Everyone's stamina ran out at the same time, which is really funny. Damn. Just lock in. 2.5 minutes, 2-1. 1 point differential. Interesting choice. I kind of see where he was going. I'm kind of seeing what he was trying to do there. I was trying to stay positive. How have you been, by the way, Mr. Vibe? We are towards the end of the stream, but I do want to hear how you're doing regardless. Nice. Okay. That's okay.
I'm on it.
Damn. Who? How? Why? No. No, he's right. Park Zeus, you're right. No. Park Zeus, you're right. Relentless positivity. Resilience. I'm just a little upset. I'm about to do something real crazy. Oh, what the? Oh. Sorry, he did something I was so unprepared to expect from this game. He caught me lacking. What you doing, buddy? Oh, that's I got a little. Nope. Run back. Run back, good lord, run back. I let you. You got that. That's okay. No! Just trying to mentally balance work, then gym, then cooking. It's like when is there time to sit and do nothing, you know? Oh, I feel that. As someone who is trying to keep up with get a website going, or just like keeping my head above water with games, writing, meetings, schedule, you realize just how much of a fucking time sink any dedication to anything is. Not even just a hobby, but just self-maintenance in general. I've not even really been working out the way I want to for the last couple of weeks. I've also really been liking my game stuff. I appreciate the consistency. My game stuff is going well, I would say. Oh my god. Score! No! That's so sad. It's going well though. I think more people are reading. No, I'm embarrassed that we lost that just now. For that to be the final game hurts. It's got to be the final game. No, it's time to go. It is time for me to go. Unless we can finish this. Well, hold on. Can we finish this reunion puzzle real quick? How much is left on this? These reunion puzzles don't take too long. What is a? It's not DR. It's got to be a DI, DU. It's giving I. Yeah. Dietary is dietary. Getra? No. Getwa? Getka? I don't know what word will go here. What would GET? Unless, oh, you know what actually? Oh, I know what's happening. Okay. This is Turkey. I'm wrong. Okay. Regardless, I think this goes like this. Okay, I was right. Okay. Tacky? Is this supposed to be tacky? It's tacky. Okay, then what is this? This is brought. Okay. And this is not bread, but beard. Hey. I said as long as we could finish it. And we finished it in an instant. Amazing. Okay. Well, now we can call it quits. Took average of 28 moves for people to do that. Damn. Well, I appreciate everyone hanging out with me today. I know most of y'all missed the almost hour-long rant I had about the Game Awards. I'll probably put it up on YouTube or something later, though. Last but not least, if you haven't checked out the latest interview up on the website, please do. I talked to developers of Paper Castle, or the developers Paper Castle, who made one of my favorite games of this year, Wander Stars. Really nice insight into their thought process, how they pulled from their inspirations, what they took, what they left, the development of the combat system in that game, as well as just what it is to make a game that forefronts queer characters in the year 2025 at the very end of it. Cool interview. Really liked how it came out. Really appreciate the time that they took to give me thoughtful answers. Go check that out. Link I just dropped in the chat, but as always, it'll be available at exalclaw.com. And if you don't know, almost every Thursday or Friday, I share a new YouTube video of a previous demo that I covered and share a new video demo that comes to the website first. So if you've got things that you've been wanting to check out, sate your diverse game palette appetite, come to the website on Thursdays and be met with some pretty cool shit. More stuff coming down the pipeline. Excited for the future of everything. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Please take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Keep an eye out on the usual channels. Keep an eye out for my time in the Discord, because this is not the last article you will be seeing from me this week, and not just on the website. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Appreciate your time, and until next stream, ciao.